Welcome back to KidsLearnPianoLive.com. My name is Jamin, and as you can tell from the countdown clock here, the lesson is about to begin. If this is your first time playing piano, welcome. I'm very excited for you. You're going to teach you the names of the notes and things like that. But if not, that's fine. You'll do great. I'll show you how to play all the notes. And if I'm going too fast for you, you can always pause the video or rewind it and go over the more difficult parts. You'll still learn enough to help you build skills so you can learn other songs faster in the future. So jump in, give it a try. You're bound to end up at least a little bit better than you even are right now. Throughout the lesson, I may refer to Klopple Academy, and you can check out that link on the website if you want. Basically, it's a program that takes you all the way from learning the names of the notes, the very beginning, through 12 levels of classical and jazz music, through all the skills that you would need to become a professional pianist. So you would learn all the same stuff that you would learn if you're taking regular traditional piano lessons, probably plus a little bit more, but it takes about 5 to 10 years to complete. So you can just try out the first level, see if it's the kind of thing that you like, or if you just care about today's lesson and learning via PDF and an MP3 button right next to this video. The MP3 is a play-along track that you can use to practice more after the lesson, but a lot of students like to print out the PDF right now so they have it during the lesson. Careful, it could be up to like 30 pages, so just find the couple pages that you want and print those out. If you decide not to, that's fine. I'll show you all of the notes on screen as we go through it. And we will be going through 5 different levels of this song that all use the same play-along track. So even if you've never played piano before, you'll still be able to do level 1. And then as we go through level 2, 3, 4, and 5, then when we use that same play-along track, you just keep playing your same version. If you're watching this lesson in the archives and you have a question during the lesson, then feel free to click on that survey button. And at the end of the survey, there's a place for you to ask your question, and I will do my best to get back to you with the answer to them during the live lesson. And if you have a question about the lesson, then you can just go ahead and type that into the box that says, Ask Jamin a question, and we will do our best to answer that question live in the lesson this week. But for right now, let's get this party started. Welcome back, everybody. My name is Jamin, and this right here is my buddy Klopple. Hey, man. He's going to be moving us right along, but I wanted to first tell you some good news and some bad news about this song. So, the good news about this song is that it's nice and slow, so it shouldn't be too terribly difficult for you to play. And see what we can do on this song. I'm going to go back to this one, level 1. And the very first note that we have here is an E. You can find an E. It's not that bad. Just take any group of 2 black notes, like those ones or those ones. Don't pick a group of this note right here. You're going to drag it up a little bit until it lands on a white note. And the name of that white note right there is E. So we're going to play an E, and we're going to say the word out loud, watch. Try that. Find your E, get ready, and we're going to say watch. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Watch. Yeah, okay, cool. If you're live with me, give me a thumbs up if that all worked out all right for you so far. Yeah? We got watch? Okay, cool. So then, watch is the first word, and then we need a hashtag with a G. It's called a G sharp in music, and we're going to say the word the. When we play a G sharp, let's find it. Well, if this one is an E right here, then we're going to go A, B, C, D, E. The next one would be F. And the next one would be G. So that's the G right there. Or you can just skip over a note if you want. Find your first note and then skip over a note. You don't have to pay attention to what any of the letters are. So that one's an E and that's a G. However, a G is not the note we're supposed to be playing. We're supposed to be playing a G with a hashtag or a G sharp, and that means the note that is slightly higher than G. So instead of going up to this one, because that's way higher than G, actually that's a whole step higher than G, we just want to go right here. There's a little half of a step higher than G. This one right here is a G sharp. These are your first two notes, an E and then a G sharp. And you're going to say out loud, watch the. Try that. Watch the. Okay. And yes, you're right, Mikhail. We do start on level 1 as beginners here, so anyone should be able to get at least the first note and maybe the first two notes. If not, then let me know. We can work it out. Watch the. Now I'm gonna move a little bit faster here to get the next notes. After that, we need a B. Now here's the thing, in music, the very last letter of our musical alphabet is G. So we already said A, B, C, D, E, F, G. The next note over is not an H because there's no H's in Western piano. So we're gonna say an A when we get to the next one. It just starts over, and then B, and then C, and then D, and E, F, G, A, B, C, D, all the way up to the piano. But all we need is a B right here for the word clock. So we're gonna go A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B. That one's a B right there. So that's the next note that we're gonna have. Watch the clock. Those are your first three notes. Go ahead and find those along with the track. The track is kind of slow-ish. The one that is not filled in, this one right here, it's not filled in. It's kind of a hollow note. That's going to be longer. The one that is filled in like this, it's going to be a little bit faster. And the whole pattern for this whole entire song is slow note, fast note, slow note, fast note, slow note, fast note. So we're just going to go slow note, fast note, slow note. Yeah, cool. Go ahead and try that on your own. The track would be something like this. 1 and a 2 and a 1, 2, ready, go. Watch the clock. Yeah, and if you didn't get all of those notes right, that means that you are a normal human being and you just need to practice more. No worries. Maybe those first three notes are what you work on, but if you're ready to move on after that, we could go over to here to the C. That'd be the note that's right next to it, and say the word solve. So it'd be watch the clock, solve. Okay, and now is where things start to get a little bit weird and jumpy. From the C, we're supposed to go down, that means this direction, to an F. Well, the first note we had was an E. The one right next to it should be an F because of the way the alphabet goes, A, B, C, D, E, F. So that one should be an F. So these first 5 notes right here might be what you want to practice. It's going to be watch the clock, solve puzz. It's a weird jump. Yeah. Probably you messed it up the first or second or third or fourth or fifth or sixth or seventh time you tried that. So just work on that, practice that up. But I'm going to keep on moving for people who are ready to keep moving. If you're not ready to keep moving, just keep practicing that. The next 2 notes are going to be a G and then a D. And this is the whole jumping around thing we were talking about. That's puzz. 1 note up would be zulz. And then jump down to a D. That's this note right here that's in the middle of a group of 2 black notes. The one that's right next to the E that we started on, actually. So it kind of goes way up high and then jumps back down, and then way up high, then jumps back down. Okay, so then all of those notes right there, we could try those all together. Everyone just play the version that you're ready to play. Maybe the first 2 notes, maybe the first 3 notes, but play along however much you can. I'll show you how it's supposed to go. And here we go. 1 and a 2. You got all the notes. Nice job. 1, 2, ready, go. Watch the clock, solve puzz, Ols then. Okay, yeah, so that's a lot of jumping around. That'll take some practice. We only have 1 note left though before we start to repeat a bunch of these notes. So that F that we've found before for puzz, it's the same exact note that we're going to use for find. So then find. And if you can make it that far, you can almost make it through the whole entire song. Because check this out. If we just zoom out a little bit, these first 4 notes right here are the same as these first 4 notes right here. It's the same exact thing. So if you can play the first 4 notes, you can play those next 4 notes down at the bottom. Okay, cool. So that's going to be keys and guidance. I went through this really fast. You don't have to go through that fast through them. But I do want to show you the last 4 notes here before we move on. Because after that C, you're going to keep on moving up. You'll notice the orange line on this goes up and then 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 up. So there's no going back down on the second line. It's going to be this note right here. Oops. This note, 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 this note. Just keeps on going higher and higher and higher and higher and higher. And that's keys and guidance with the lighter. And you don't play them all at the same time. I'm just holding them down so you can see where they are. You'd play keys and guidance with the lighter. But I'm guessing everyone's either you're ready for level 2 and you're like, all right, can this be the last time? Or you have something earlier you need to practice. You're not ready to do the whole thing yet. So wherever you are, whatever you have down, then just play that much of it. Pause the video and practice if you need to. But if you're live with me, then play all the notes that you can. Don't worry about any of the notes that you miss. We're going to start right here. Get at least the first note. On our arc, get set. 1 and a 2 and a 1, 2. Ready, go. Watch. Okay, cool. We got that one. The clock. Solve puzzles, then find keys and guide. Keep going higher. Dance with the lighter. Yeah, right. Okay, cool. So that is. Yeah. All right. We'll hurry up. I want to say one last thing though. This song in the actual game loops and loops and loops and loops and loops and loops. So after you get up to that highest note, then you would just go immediately back down to this one, and we'd loop the whole thing over and over. So that's how the actual song in the actual game goes. But for right now, let's do a little bit of mailbag.
If you'd like to win an extra 750 points by being the mailbag winner, just fill out the survey at the end of the lesson, or send us a message anytime during the week using the contact button at the top of the page.
And this week it's from Kay McKenzie, who says, Dear Jamin, how do I read sheet music for piano? That's actually the first thing we deal with when we're in Plopple Academy. So if you go to the website and you go up to the top of the Plopple Academy, then we start dealing with that. But also in level 2 here in just a second, I'm going to show you how to start reading sheet music. The thing about reading sheet music is it's just like learning how to read, like read books, read English. You like start with letters, and then you still you're like, well, I can't really read. And then you start doing like a word. You're like, yeah, but I can't read a book. And then you learn more words and more words and more words. And eventually you can read as well as I can, and I still can't read if I'm given like a big technical medical journal or something like that. There's words that I can't pronounce when I read them. So however good you get at reading sheet music, you could always get a little bit better. So I don't know if there's such a thing as being able to read sheet music, but you can understand it better and better and better and better and better and read more and more things. So get started on the level 2 stuff, and then level 3, and then by the time you're up to level 4, you're really reading sheet music. So just do a lot more of it and you'll get better at it. But I want to show you a couple of composers this week, and this time I'm not going to tell you who these 2 people are. If you're a Music Lessons in a Box subscriber for a long time, you might recognize these guys from your cards. Either if you're live with me or if you're in the archives, if you can find out who these 2 guys are and send me one of their names, you got an extra 500 points. I'll give you a hint that it is their birthday this month in February. And we also have some students who have February birthdays. Happy birthday to all of you. happy birthday. And yes, those two composers were on that list. So even if you're not a Music Lessons in a Box subscriber, you might be able to guess from that list. But for right now, let's do a little bit of secret information.
Secret information.
And this week, in our top secret information folder, we have that this song uses something called a rhythmic motif. Let me show you what that means. In order to show you, I'm going to need to go down to level 2. Now, most people aren't going to pay attention to this. It's just kind of a secret for you and me. If you notice, we're not going to pay attention to any of the letters in here or any of the colors in here. We're just going to go by the type of note that there is. We'll notice that this one is a hollow note that has a dot. After that, it's a filled in note with no dot. After that, hollow note dot. After that, filled in no dot. Hollow dot, filled in no dot. Hollow. So this pattern of hollow note with a dot, that's a dotted half note, and then a quarter note, and then a dotted half note, and then a quarter note. That means we have a rhythmic motif. The notes may change around, but the rhythms of a long note, and then a short note, and then a long note, and then a short note, that's called a rhythmic motif. It's just a little idea that they keep repeating even though they're changing the notes. Next, this one also has a melodic motif as well. So this one here, not only do we have that rhythmic motif, but you also notice that we have some like repeating patterns, like a jump and then a jump, and then a step and then a jump. So right here we got like a jump and then a jump, and then we have a step and then a jump, and then over here we have a step and then a jump, and then we have a jump and then a step. So this combination of like jumps and steps, step and then jump, step, jump and then step. This is also a melodic motif. So even if the notes were different, they're 8th notes, 16th notes, that's called a melodic motif, where you're doing something with a little melody and then you move it around and then you move it around and move it around. That's a melodic motif. Last thing in our top secret information folder is that this is a somewhat atonal song, meaning it's hard to tell what key we're in. You'll notice over here, I wrote it with 0 sharps and flats over here. But the very first chord is an A chord, which would usually mean that we're in the key of A, which would have 3 sharps in it. So what key are we in? It's kind of hard to tell because they keep jumping around from key to key to key. And so it always makes you feel a little bit uneasy, which is they probably wrote it that way on purpose because the game, it's supposed to be scary. You're not supposed to know, is something about to show up or not? And so it's about to scare you. So this is kind of an atonal song, which usually goes with scary things. The last piece of secret information is who won the raffle. Maybe it's you. Congratulations. Let us know what prize it is that you want. And now it's time to move on to level 2.
Transitioning to level 2. This may be confusing to level 1 students, so please continue to practice the level 1 version or visit learnpianolive.com/level 2 for a detailed explanation on how to level up.
So just a reminder, if you need to keep working on level 1, keep working on level 1. That's fine. If you need to exit the lesson so you can go practice, then that's fine too. But if you're ready for level 2, let's take a look at this. It's actually the exact same thing as level 1, except now we have all the scary lines and spaces of the treble clef. And because today we're going to focus a little bit on how to read the treble clef, I do want to point out that these notes all show up in a predictable spot. So every single time on the treble clef, that's this guy right here, anytime you have the treble clef, that bottom line, if you have a note where the line cuts right through the middle of the note, it's always going to be an E. In fact, it's always going to be the E that is right above middle C. So this is middle C because it's the C that's closest to the middle. It's not actually the reason, but whatever. We'll learn that in Clavicle Academy. But right here, this E is right next to the middle C, and that's the E that is on the very bottom line. In fact, you'll notice that if we have any other notes in here that are on that very bottom line, it's always going to be an E 100% of the time. So even when we move on to level 3, where the notes are not written in for you anymore in the treble clef, you could still know that that one's an E because it's on the bottom line. That bottom line is cutting through it. In fact, go to any piece of sheet music anywhere in the universe, and if it's got that treble clef sign right there in front, that bottom line is going to be that note right there, and you're already starting to know how to read sheet music. So let's go back to level 2, though, because that's where we're supposed to be. The letters are written in for you, but you can use that as a cheat sheet for you for other songs, too. So this second line right here, it's always going to be a G. The third line, it's always going to be a B. In fact, some people come up with acronyms for these. Like, this is always going to be an E, and that's going to be a G, and that's going to be a B, and that's going to be a D, and that's going to be an F. So sometimes they say, like, every good band deserves fudge for E, G, B, D, F, because it's hard to remember E, G, B, D, F. It's a weird set of notes and stuff. But the spaces actually spell F. That one's always going to be an F. That space, if you have a note like right there, that would be an F. This one right here is always going to be an A. This one right here is going to be a C. And this one right here is going to be an E. And it actually spells face, and that has nothing to do with music. Unfortunately, I wish it did. But it's at least a word that can help. So F-A-C-E, those are the spaces of the treble clef, and then E-G-B-D-F is the lines of the treble clef. However you want to memorize those, eventually the bottom line will just look like an E. So you'll just see that one, and you'll want to play an E. All right, enough of that stuff. Let's go ahead and I think we're just going to play along. We already talked about the rhythmic motif in here. You already know the letters, so I think most of the level 2 people are ready to play this. If you're not, that's fine. You can always pause the video and practice if all that you want. If you're live with us, then just get all the notes that you can and don't worry about the ones that you miss. We'll practice this a lot more times. Here we go. 1 and a 2 and a 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Watch the clock, solve puzzles then. And if you already know the first 4 notes, you can jump in right here. Keys and guidance with, keep going, the light, and then if you were going to repeat it, then we would go back. All right, that was our last time on level 2. I guess it's time to move up to level 3. Let's go.
Transitioning to level 3. This may be confusing to level 1 and 2 students. Please continue to practice your own level, or visit learnpianolive.com/level3 to understand how this level works.
Okay, so here we are on level 3. This is all the exact same notes in the treble clef in the right hand. All we're doing now is adding in the left hand. I say all we're doing now. Moving from level 2 to level 3 is pretty difficult. It's not just like a regular level jump. You're adding in a whole other hand. So your brain's doing at least twice as much work as it was doing before, even though there aren't that many notes to add in. Just your brain having to think about the left hand and the right hand. This stuff is hard. This is really hard. So if you feel like you're missing a lot of notes or this is really difficult, that's because you're probably missing a lot of notes and this is really difficult. So you just need to keep on practicing. If you've got questions about it, feel free to ask me. But yeah, this stuff is hard. So cut yourself some slack and just get the notes that you can. Don't worry about the rest of them. This right here is called the bass clef. This is where we write in the lower notes, which we usually get with our left hand because the lower notes are on the left side of the piano, and most people's left hands are on the left side of them. So this note, first note right here is going to be an A, and we're going to play that A with that note right there. So when we say watch and we play that E, we're going to play an A right here. Yeah, just like that. And then nothing happens with the, that A just carries on until it moves up to a C with the word clock. And then it's going to move up again to an F when we play puzz, and then up to a G when we play the word then. All right, cool. Once again, we've already done level 1 and 2. We're on level 3. So if you're still struggling with level 1 or level 2, that means you should be practicing level 1 or level 2 and not worrying about all this extra stuff here. You can just ignore all of this. But wherever you are, everybody go ahead and pause the video, practice if you need to. Get all the notes that you can. Don't worry about any of the notes that you miss. If you can get the first 3 notes, just try to get the first 4 notes. Try to add 1 more. If the first 2 notes are easy, just try to get the 3rd note. Just try to add 1 more note in. Everyone doing your version. Here we go. 1 and a 2 and a 1, 2. Ready? Here we go. Watch the clock. Solve puzzles then. Now level 3 people, that left hand is going to repeat the exact same notes. A to a C to an F to a G, and then if you loop it back around, we come back to an A. But yeah, we're not too slow. All right, well, that is how you do all of level 3. Let me just say that once again, though, in case you missed it while I was playing. The bottom notes for the left hand on the second half of the song are the same as the first half. So if you can do the first half left hand, then you can do the second half left hand. Let's see what level 4 has for us.
Transitioning to level 4. This may be unsettling to lower levels. Please continue to practice your own level, or visit learnpianolive.com/level4 for an in-depth explanation on how to conquer this level.
Okay, so what level 4 has for us is some tricky stuff. You'll notice there aren't like actually a whole lot of notes. Sometimes we get to level 4 and there's like 16th notes and 8th notes and there's notes everywhere. This just plays a lot of them at one time and then moves on and plays a lot of them at one time. So let me show you what that looks like right here. It's actually the lowest note's the same thing as level 3. So that whole A, C, F, G thing that we were doing on level 3, if you were on level 3 and you were working on that and that made sense, then you know what I'm talking about. We're just going to do that exact same thing, but instead of just playing A by itself, we're going to add in the note that's called a perfect fifth higher than the A. So we're going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 half steps. Those are the notes that you're going to play at the beginning. That's those two notes right there. It's an A and an E, and you'll notice none of the letters are written in on level 4 because it's assumed that you already know how to figure out the letters for the treble clef and the bass clef. So that's the first thing we're going to do, and then you can just shift that over for the C one like that, and then shift it over when we go to the F. There you play that one right there, and then the G. So if you just like freeze your fingers in that position, pinky and thumb, you should be able to get those notes right there, 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 like that. But that's pretty tricky to do with the right hand, and the right hand has some additional notes too. So at the beginning, watch is gonna have, a C sharp with it. So that's watch, and then the clock. Sounds really pretty, but it's a lot of notes to keep track of. So it'll take a lot of practice. Solve puzzles, then find keys and guidance with the lighter. That's what's going to look like when you get to level 4 if you're a level 4 person. But whatever kind of person you are, however long you've been practicing, if you need to pause the video and practice, then do that if you're in the archives. But if you're live with us, play all the notes that you can get. Don't worry about any of them that you miss. Here we go. 1 and a 2 and a 1, 2. Ready, try. Watch the clock. Solve puzzles, then find keys and guidance with the lighter. And then you can keep going if you wanted to. That's all of that, which means it is time to move on to level 5 and turn this whole thing into numbers. Let's go.
Transitioning to level 5. This may be terrifying to lower levels. Please continue to practice your own level, or visit learnpianolive.com/level5 for training on how to survive this level.
So here we go. Level 5 is like this right here. The right hand would play the yellow part. The left hand would play the purple or blue part. And this time, instead of using C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C as our letters, we're going to be using numbers. So all of those get turned to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And so now we are in the key of C, using the numbers 3 for watch, and then a sharp 5 for the. Clock would be a 7. Solve would be a 1. Puzz. And that's what the right hand would do, is follow all of those. And of course the left hand would follow the left hand chords for a 6 or a major 6 chord, and then a 1 or a 1 chord, and then a 4 or a 4 chord, and then a 5 or a 5 chord. And the reason that we do this is that right now we're in the key of C, where C is number 1. However, in the actual song, they are in the key of D, where the letter D is 1, and the numbers look like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. And so now in the key of D, you can use the same exact numbers. We'd go 3, sharp 5, 7, 1, 4, 5, 2. And now we're playing the same exact notes that they play in the video game. However, everyone's been working in the key of C so far. So we're gonna go back to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You play whatever version that you are used to. Probably if you haven't done level 5 before, that was a really short introduction and you wanna go to learnpianolive.com/level5 to figure out how in the world this stuff works. But a lot of you have already been changing keys and doing numbers and stuff. So whatever version you're working on, show me that. Here we go, everyone. Playing the notes that you can. Don't worry about the ones that you miss. I'm going to try to call out the numbers as we go. Ready? Here we go. 3, sharp 5, 7, 1, 4, 5, 2, 4, 3, sharp 5, 7, 1, 2, 5, 6, and then we could repeat it. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that's it. I think we did it. We did all the names of the notes. We did all the chords. We did all the numbers. We changed keys. That was a lot. If you still have questions about any of that, then let me know. Otherwise, in our next lesson, we're going to be doing Claire de Lune. Not next week, but the next kids live lesson. So Claire de Lune is coming up. That's one of our favorite classical songs we play. Until next time, go, explore, mess up, have fun, rock on, kids. Hey, great, you're still here, so you must want more. Well, I've got 4 things for you: archives, practice tips, points, and jokes. First of all, if you didn't like this week's song, I'm sorry, and you can always go to learnpianolive.com/next song and vote for what our next song should be. And right now you can go to the kids lesson archives and just pick a different song and work on that this week. Now you probably don't have the whole song down yet, so what you can do is, this helps a lot of people, just next time pretend that you're the in-studio student and that in level 3 and level 5 we're going to be checking in with you and you've got to play at least some of the songs.